watch it usually in the evening a little bit.
So much is that. Clock's not on. The monitor's not on, is it? Oh, 'cause that's how you're gonna start. Yeah. All right. Almost.
Check, check, check.
Well, go ahead and start the thing. That's fine. Is the sound on?
Sound is on.
This doesn't work anymore. There it is. Is it on? Check, check, go.
I like it.
Hey, and welcome to AM Kevin. That's great.
That's awesome looking, bud. I like that new intro.
I know. It's just great. Hello.
Hello.
Turn us down. La da dee 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 dee. You like that new little
I like
intro?
that,
You
man.
like that whole thing? I'm trying to see if turn me down, please. I'm trying to see if who's on. We're on there. Yeah.
Hello. Turn us down.
There you go. Patty and Gail are there. Hey, I'm not even existing now.
I'm trying to see. Turn me down, please.
There it is. I see you join too. There we go. Well, join. It's going to be a good day. We got a lot of good things to go. Susan, Marshall, Patty, Gail, they're all there. And so Patty Gail, that sounds like a name, doesn't
Yeah.
it? This could be a stage name. A lot of things happen in the news. I can't hear myself at all. Can we turn me up? Nope.
Check, check, check.
Yo, split the difference. Can we do it like we do it every day? Anyway, so do you have a good night?
Pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of chill.
My wife has been over to see the baby like almost every
Oh,
day.
yeah.
Went again yesterday for a couple hours. Loves the new, Uncle Marshall. You got your new little baby.
Yeah, man. We went out to dinner last night, me and Kendra.
Yeah.
To the Mr. G's Pizza downtown.
Oh,
Pretty
how
awesome
is that?
place.
I've never been. I've heard it's really good.
It's really good. My buddy owns it. You know, my buddy Ryan.
Yeah.
He was just 1 year older than me, and so he owns that place now. And so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. it's
There you
pretty
go.
cool.
Yeah, you have friends, you don't have to be successful. You just have to have friends to become successful.
That's
and
right,
then
man.
You're good. It's all good. But, okay. Anyway, so I think we have too much space above our head when I'm looking at the deal. But we've got so many things. Yes, Patty says she's actually awake up there in Montana. Because I think it's an hour earlier than even now. So 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. But we have so many things to cover. Here's the big news. You want to hear the big news of the day?
The big sad news of the day?
It is sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kermit the Frog has been fired.
Yeah, you
The
know
guy
what?
that does Kermit has been fired, but he
I heard that he was.
he sounds like a cocky punk.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't like cocky punk.
He
He
ain't
should have
Jim
cocky
Henson.
punk of the days, huh?
He ain't Jim Henson.
He's no Jim Henson, but here's the deal. They said the Henson family had to fire him last year because he has all these demands.
Yeah.
And an attitude of, and you can see stuff, they quote that he said, that he's written, emailed, whatever, that you can't do this without me, or, there will
I
not
heard
be a
that-
good Kermit without me, kind
Right.
of
I
deal.
heard that it was like the genesis of it was that he would say, like they would write a line for him and he would say, Kermit wouldn't say that. It's like, dude, you don't get to choose,
You know,
bro.
you're a puppeteer.
Yeah.
Stop. So this guy, come on, yeah.
The last two Muppet movies have been
jerk
really
of
good,
the day,
though.
huh?
I love the Muppets. They're some of my favorites.
Who
The-
doesn't?
The last two
if
have been
you don't,
really
you're
good.
a communist
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah, you're just a heathen. But of course, we love the Muppets.
I love the one song. Sometimes even frogs have rainy days.
Yes. Frogs every day. Yeah. What's the Kermit? The one though. Is that the main Kermit song?
No,
there's
the
one-
main one is Rainbow Connection. You
Ra-
know?
yeah.
Why, har? There's so many songs about rainbows.
It's exactly.
And Easy Being Green too. That's
You know,
another one.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
the one I was thinking. It ain't easy being green. It's like All his songs are sad, though. It's so
They're all sad, yes.
Yeah.
He's a melancholy frog.
Anyway, so we're calling Jerk of the Day. No, we're not even putting a question mark. He seems, I saw his interview. Well, I would never presuppose to be, to tell people
So-
that I'm the only, of course
This
you
could be a
did.
great Saturday Night Live skit. Like he has a voice, Your Honor.
It would be good. Now, the real big news of the day, other than right now, two big things are happening. One of them here in Branson, and another one in D.C. President Trump is at the Pentagon now and getting debriefed. Or why would they be debriefed? Don't they be briefed? No, he'd be briefed. You're debriefed if you. Well, what is the difference? You're briefed on stuff. You're debriefed if you. One, you're wearing underwear. One, you're taking off. No. One,
That's a good question, buddy.
you're
I don't
briefed.
know.
To debrief would to try to undo what you were briefed.
Debriefing is post. Briefing is pre.
Pre and post.
Okay, that makes
That's the
sense.
idea. Our officials from Washington just phoned in and let us know. He's at the Pentagon being briefed then, well, and debriefed, because it's about the ISIS situation, what's happening, and so there's good news, but there's bad news. And the last thing I heard before coming into the studio was that it can be contained. But here, this is a smart guy. He said what we were saying about, I think this was an official from the Pentagon, saying that it's an ideological thing, it's theological thing, it's what will happen is we can destroy the army militarily, that part, but we have got to make situations over there in a different way, in a different fight for their ideology. In other words, if things are going well in these countries, that's how they're recruiting. They're recruiting people who are disillusioned and with life and don't care whether they blow up. So if we can make things better for the people, so I thought that was a good way of coming at it. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
So that'd be the way. But so that's the one big thing that's happening in D.C. But right here in Branson, at 9 o'clock, I was invited, but of course we have the AM Kevin.
Yes.
They are opening up the new drive-through part of the Promised Land
Yes.
Zoo.
I'll be over there near there today.
Yeah, well, they invited us to come and be there, and I was trying to think at the last minute, bring cameras and try to. I know, but I didn't. I didn't think we could do that. Would you want to bring a camera over there and just? Could we have live streamed from there? I don't think we could. We could have. Yeah,
Well,
we
we
should
can
have.
next
Next
week or
opening.
so, or
10 years from now.
Well, it doesn't have to be the opening. We can go and check it
We
out.
can still go and check
Yeah.
it out. And they did give us an invitation. They're really busy until the summer's over. And so in this fall, they'll start bringing animals back here on the
Cool,
show.
man.
Hopefully a baby giraffe or whatever, because giraffes are part of this drive-through zoo. And so I thought that was really cool. Another serious, real big news. After the surgery on his left eye with a blood clot, they found that he has an aggressive brain cancer. That is John McCain. A wonderful senator for many years, distinguished
Yeah.
prisoner of war. I mean, he just fighting. I like what President Obama said when he sent a greeting and said, our prayers are with you, but you are a fighter and cancer has no match for you. Kind of, I'm not quoting exactly, but in that way. And so I pray that
Kevin,
that's so.
He was in the Hanoi Hilton being tortured in Vietnam for.
He's a patriot.
I think
man.
I think maybe the first stint was a couple years that he had an opportunity to go free, but it was more loyal for him to stay because they weren't letting everybody go, and
Yeah.
so he basically stayed for long. I think he was over there for like 5-6 years.
And never gave in. Yeah, he was tortured. He was actually wounded and still suffers from the wounds of that today.
Yeah, and they said, I didn't know this before, he had gotten skin cancer because they kept him outside in the hot Vietnam sun for 6 years basically.
A true patriot. He ran for president. I think he would have made a fantastic president. But who did he lose to? Obama,
Barack
right?
Obama.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The first one was it? No, second
Well,
one. See,
the first one he
No, he was
technically
the first
lost
one.
to George W. Bush in the primary. And if you remember,
Oh, that's right.
there was a
yeah.
big thing in like South Carolina. They were got real nasty. It was a real nasty Republican primary
Yeah.
that year.
And then but the Republican candidate for that year for the first time, which, by the time Obama was now the poster child of the world, John McCain really didn't have a chance. I think he might if he waited, during the Mitt Romney thing. If Mitt Romney had done it then, that'd have been a sacrificial lamb. Nobody was going to win after the George W. People wanted something new. It's this trend we talk about with the presidents.
McCain would have had a better shot next time. That might be true.
Might have been, but that's changing history and all. But he is a great patriot and a great man, and so our prayers are with him, and we'll just remember when we pray to really pray for the McCain family, and pray that his heart is right. I'm not saying whether it is or not. I don't know. If his heart is right with the Lord, he'd be cool to meet out when we get up to heaven for
I haven't
sure. He's a
heard
good man.
much about that actually.
You haven't?
His faith. I don't know much about his
No,
faith.
I know.
actually.
I don't know, but we pray that he has things right with the Lord for sure. Not saying that he's going to pass away, but they said this is an aggressive brain cancer, and they're still determining on even how they're going to treat it. They don't even know at this
Man.
point. So, and another.
Chemotherapy at that age can't be easy.
I know. Is he 80? I think he said he
he's
was
just
80.
right about there, yeah.
Yeah, 79, 80. And so it just seems like Jerkski coming up today, besides the Kermit jerk. O.J. Simpson is in the news. He's up
Yes.
for parole. I don't know about this. I don't think, if he's reformed, they'll have to figure
But,
that out because
Kevin,
I don't know.
But
what?
can't keep him in jail for the murder. You just got to
No,
look
you
at
can't. No, only the.
Yeah.
With a gun, he busted down a door and
Yeah.
tried to take his stuff. I'm still not sure what
What
really
happened was, because I've seen all the documentaries
Yeah.
about it and stuff, there was a guy who had some of his stuff, his memorabilia, like his, Texas State football championship,
Yeah.
something like that.
But did OJ own it?
No, in the sense that, like, let's say I win a Super Bowl, I lose it. Let's say I go pawn it. I lost that Super Bowl ring.
Right.
Somebody else owns it. I don't own it anymore. Yeah,
Right.
it is mine. But what
But
happened
not
was
really,
him
yeah.
and his buddies went there, and they didn't just take his stuff. They took a bunch of other, which the guy had, like, Mickey Mantle stuff. And because they just kind of got carried away. There were just a bunch of guys, and it was really funny. Like, you hear the 911 call afterwards.
Yeah,
and
I've heard
the
it.
guy goes, I just got robbed by 4 people in O.J. Simpson. Like,
Yeah,
it's weird.
he said the name
Yeah,
O.J.
yeah.
Simpson. Yeah, and it was by gunpoint. So I mean,
Yeah,
that's what
becomes
really
armed robbery. Yeah,
that's not good. Hey, your mom was with us. Jerry's with us. Phyllis, wonderful Arizona Phyllis, and Jerry, good old blue-eyed Jerry. Kyle, Keith, Roger, who's in Florida right now, but normally from Oklahoma, and Twyla. Kyle, where are you from? Kyle looks like a new name there that I don't remember, and of course, but yeah, I think if it was me, he needs to stay in jail the rest of his life. He was a danger even to the family, Nicole Simpson's family. They were always like, he would just show up, like creeping.
Weird.
But if he's reformed and he's really, had to come to Jesus, then that's different. So I guess I can't judge, so I'm not going to. But as for the murder, he did it. But so that's once again my opinion.
Hot take
Feel
of the
free
day,
to
Kev.
feel
Yeah.
free to join in.
Real controversial take there.
For some, it is. I said it one
No,
time
I don't think
in my
so.
first season, and you don't think so?
I think that when it was happening, yes, there were some, but they had their reasons why they didn't believe it.
Yes.
It became a symbol of oppression. Even though he did do it, it became a symbol for people.
I think still people feel.
Yeah, those people are dumb.
Because we've talked about this, that he might have did it, but the way that the police there.
Yeah, there were some shenanigans going on. Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah.
But anyway, in other news, China. I try to keep China in the news because China is.
Because Catherine's there? Yes.
Because Catherine, my daughter, is there right now, sending pictures from the Forbidden City.
That's so cool.
Which makes me wonder if it's forbidden, why they're there. But anyway,
I saw one of her. She was standing in front of a tank. I didn't know.
Was she? Yeah, at Tiananmen Square.
Yeah.
She was there. She was just standing there. I would be so proud if she did. Welcome Gary is there, and your mom's talking about arrowheads. I don't know what that has.
She
to
went
do.
camping this weekend.
Oh, did
So
she?
she must be home. Yes.
Oh, I would like to go camping. Oh, it's hot.
I know.
Right now it's hot. Hey, y'all that are there, like Gary or Patty or those that are, Keith, tell us your weather. Is it hot there? I think it's hot everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe somebody's getting rain, but we're not for a while. And so it's hot. But China this is really awesome
Yeah, tell me about
to
it.
me.
Okay.
This communist country, this country that wants socialist, that wants nothing to do with America, is buying more and more from America. They've just did some deals, or not recently, did some deals with GE to get their appliances and electronics.
Uh-huh.
and Walmart, the most capitalistic
Right.
company that we have
Right.
in America. And I mean that in a good way, because I don't know why capitalism is a bad word, but it's a great word. And they're paying more because, like even the fight with GE, like Electrolux and other were bidding for to sell their appliances, but they picked GE because they're paying more because they're the most famous of the U.S. brands. They want the Made in America label in China.
Interesting.
You know, we talk about made in China stuff all the time because, you know, a lot of stuff, like our coffee mug's made in China.
Yeah, yeah.
But they want to have the Made in America. This is an American. This is a famous GE. This is a Walmart brand.
Interesting. They even
stuff
look for those brands.
in China.
That's
Are
interesting.
things just
You know,
topsy-turvy or what?
Well, because it's. See, here's what's interesting about this, Kevin, because we were just talking about with the Arab countries.
Yeah.
I don't think so far what our sort of trying to be a sphere of influence over the Arab countries, it doesn't seem like it's worked. But it does seem like the Chinese culture is a little bit more susceptible to kind of like the westernization in a way, you know? Like, for instance, they always controlled weird aspects of their life. Like, for instance, because their form of communism, all the communisms are different. They have different
nuances,
similar nuances and stuff. But so the idea that they used to ban religion, they would ban things like fiction, science fiction, and fantasy, things like that. Well, I listened to this podcast of these fantasy authors, and they were talking about how the very first science fiction, state-sponsored convention happened in China like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And he talked to one of the main government officials there, and he's like, "What is this all about?" And he's like, "I've been coming to China for many years. Why would you guys? I don't think we're ever really big fans of like science fiction or anything." And he said that he went over to Google and he went over to Apple because the idea was that the government official was saying that we make so much cool stuff here. We make the Apple products. We make all that stuff, but y'all come up with it. So he went to Google and he's like, "This is a country of way less people than us. What is the creativity? Where's the creativity come from?" And he said the answer that he got most often was that they grew up on heavy doses of science fiction and fantasy, and the idea that gave them all these ideas. Yeah. And so the Chinese are now wanting to get in on this. So I thought that was really interesting. Yeah,
they're coming around. They were like, they throughout the years have been like the bully that, or like the girlfriend that loves you, really likes you, but is always mean to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You ever met one of those girls?
No,
China's
the girlfriend, Russia's the boyfriend. He's, over there. He's the bully.
No, I'm saying that, to us, that we're anti-capitalist, capitalist pigs, the whole, well, that was Russian, but this is the same kind of deal. Well, Russia too.
Yeah.
But the whole time, jealous of us, wanting to be like us. It's obvious by now.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not saying that arrogantly, but it's just obvious that, Russia and China both have. And it's really Pastor Maddox has said, the real news is Jesus is coming. And it's true because Jesus is coming and all these things are lining up, China, Russia, and all that.
Kevin, Phyllis said something hilarious.
Who did?
Phyllis. "I have seen both John McCain and O.J. Simpson in person, but not at the same time."
No, I don't think you would. They were chance encounters. I had a conversation with McCain, not realizing who he was until later.
Funny.
Phyllis has been around, I think. Phyllis, isn't this?
She met Nixon?
Yes, she's somebody like that. She's run into all these people. But, I'm talking, somebody's put in a prayer request, so I want to make sure I put it in this here. Yeah, Phyllis, what have you done in a former life? You've been around. I'd like to know more about Phyllis. She's a great family and friend member. Appreciate that. Number one, who is the number one pizza franchise in America?
Pizza Hut.
It is Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut is just above Domino's by a couple $1 billion more.
Both.
Or at least $1 billion. No, they have their good and bad parts. All of them.
It's okay.
Why? Which is your favorite pizza place?
Real Pizza. Like
real
New York
pizza.
City?
Yeah, New York City pizza.
Yeah.
We have a New York City pizza right down Rocco's.
Yes, Rocco's is
got
good.
to go. I wish I had $5.
And the
It's
pizza I
just
ate last
$5
night
for a
was real
slice.
good.
Where'd you go? Oh yeah,
Mr. G's. The best part about that is the crust. It's
Yeah.
real, like it's got the best.
I love New York pizza, and of course I like Chicago pizza. But if I had a choice, I'd go New York pizza
Yeah.
in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
The Chicago pizza is a little doughy to me.
So
too
I know
much.
I'm being a snob because you can't always get that stuff. You know, of the pizza places, Mazzio's was always my favorite.
We don't have one anymore.
don't have one
The tornado
anymore.
took it out a few
Yeah.
years ago and never rebuilt. I don't know why.
Man, they used to have.
They were pretty good.
I would get spinach and
I
artichoke
think we
dip.
discussed
you
this
know.
on the show
Oh,
before.
it's my
Yes,
favorite, man.
I know, and they had a good salad bar all the time. But you know, Pizza Hut has a good salad bar. But we don't have a Pizza Hut in the, at least a good one in Branson. There's a one that shares wings or something over there. Oh, they're. I'm just praying that they'll burn down soon with nobody in it, but the pizza. I mean, they're just horrible service. They've given me the horrible time on my bills. They've given me horrible. I ordered wings one time. We're supposed to talk about the positive restaurants in Branson, but they gave me wings. You get a dozen wings or
Yeah.
10 wings. I think it was 10. 2 of them were just, and Tanner always liked without the bone, the boneless ones. Which
yeah.
I didn't. But so I'd split 10 with them. I'd be fine. So 2 of the 10
Uh-huh.
were just a piece of crust. There was no chicken inside of it. It was a ball of crust. And I said, ma'am, and she says, okay. So she kind of gave us a discount. She didn't take it off the bill. She gave us a discount. Anyway, it's a long story. Then you're supposed to get a local discount, and they wouldn't give me the local discount and the discount off the wings, which was only balls of crust.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So I said, well, wait a minute. You took it off my bill because you didn't give me real wings. But I still get my local discount. Oh, we
Yeah.
can't give 2 discounts. So ever since, I've never been back into that place.
You're like, I wanted wings. All I got was the feathers.
Yeah, that's right. But the thing I was going to say about Pizza Hut, they're scared that because there's more and more competitors. You know, there's the Domino's and the Papa John's and the and the Papa Murphy's and the it goes on and on. The Papa John's is really one of my favorite as far as delivery, but just delivery. But the mom and pop ones are the best. But they're trying to revamp. So now they've made ovens that will make a pizza in 3 minutes.
Whoa.
Yeah, because of the Chipotle, Subway kind of, you
Yeah.
walk in, pick your stuff and go.
Jimmy John's, real fast.
Right, they want to do that with the pizza,
Oh.
so they're going to revolutionize that. Domino's been trying, but they didn't. But Pizza's going to make an oven, and they may have it by now. I don't know what it's in the works. I don't think they have it now.
That sounds
You
like a
walk
good
in,
idea.
3 minutes. I guess, but can the pizza be that good and cooked in 3
I don't
minutes?
know. Might be better. What they
Might
got.
be. All right. Well.
They're probably my least favorite.
Anyway, of course, Mr. Gilberti's, which we sometime when there's anniversaries in the place, we give out Mr.
I don't
Gilberti's
know.
tickets.
I wonder if he used to own the Mr. G's downtown, Kevin. Is that what?
He did.
Yeah. Okay.
He did, and he moved
Gotcha.
away, sold it out.
Yeah.
Yep. Sandy, another family and friend member's on. Yay, I love you, Sandy. Sandra, Sandy. She says Sandy, but I originally knew you as
Oh yeah, Hook and Ladder. Carrie Ann says Hook and Ladder in La
I've
Hollister.
never been, but they've
It's
always
good.
won awards over there.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Because
that
it's like a
place is
kid's
good.
place, so I didn't feel like, because they got a fire truck or stuff.
No, but it's not. It's not like that. It's a really cool, actually, atmosphere in there. It's really peaceful in there. It's a small little place. Yeah, it's cool.
Stuffed crust. At
Like
Pizza
stuffed
Hut
crust.
now.
That's why I used to go to Pizza Hut. though, is the
Okay,
stuffed
all
crust, yeah.
right. She said still her favorite. And Elizabeth to join us. I'm glad you joined us. Well, we're going to go to a little bit of the negative side again, just a little bit. We've mentioned some
Negatified.
jerks. Yeah,
Yeah.
OJ, Kermit.
Kermit.
It's just full of greedy people. But here's our greedy group of the day, and we'll let you decide if it's all about this. That's how we know. They added the question mark.
Yes, I see a question mark.
All about
Who typed
Money.
a question mark in the teleprompter again? Another movie.
It has to be because we let you decide. And we're not saying they are. We're putting it before you, and then you decide. Number one, because we don't want to be sued, but number two, because this is only opinion, so it's debatable. All right. After 5 years, a lawsuit
Okay.
was settled by the people versus Comcast, DirecTV, and the Major League Baseball organization.
Interesting.
They finally settled for 5 years for the fans who wanted their local baseball games aired, but they weren't airing the baseball games. I thought you could really get on this. By the way, watch Dixie Fieldhouse on WGAN.
Yes.
Watch it, every Friday. There's a new one, and then through the week they play them. It's still played every day after Kevin Shorey show, right? Yeah,
I met
every
some
day.
really cool people are going to come on the show too, Kev. Yeah.
Come on now, this Friday.
Yeah.
You've got who again?
Magician.
Oh yeah. Ooh. The
Yeah, man.
Bob
He's
Ross.
gonna do,
I mean,
yeah,
Brad Ross.
He's gonna paint me a picture and make me disappear. Yes, sir. Right.
Oh, is that that guy?
Yeah, Bob Ross.
Isn't that funny? Anyway, so they were suing the Comcast DirecTV.
I think
somebody
I know
was. Yeah.
Yeah. Does it have to do with blackouts?
Yeah, they black them out, and they want to watch their baseball team games aired. So what did they win? What did the people win? Do you know what they won?
No.
Squat. Greedy. This is greedy. You will have as much of local baseball games as you want. Your favorite team, you can watch them all the time. If you subscribe to pay TV buy a separate streaming service from the Major League Baseball organization,
Yeah.
who will offer you for $84.99 a year your streamed games just for your team.
Yeah.
So it's still going to cost the people $85. You plus, God knows what it costs to get satellite or Comcast or DirecTV. Not that they're bad companies, but they are expensive. So what did they win, really?
Yeah, it's a tough one.
They won the right to have their team, but they got to pay for it.
Well, that's
I just
always
see
been.
This is greedy.
It's always been the package has been around for about.
And you
10
have to
years, but-
you have to sign up with the Major League Baseball organization to get their separate streaming service.
Yeah, it's interesting. Blackouts have been a thing for a long, long time. It's funny, Kevin. What used to happen is in the NFC or the National Football League, when that used to be before the AFL started, the NFL used to black out all its games, right? So really famous teams, like even the Cowboys, even the Philadelphia Eagles, teams that were in the National Football League, the original teams, the Bears, although they had iconic followings and everything, this is how like the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Miami Dolphins got such nationwide fan bases, because when the NFL used to black out its games, the AFL never did. And so the AFL, you could watch all the games all the time.
Yeah.
And so but it's interesting
Nobody wanted
because
to watch them.
football's a little bit different, because football, you have an expectation. There's only 16 games. You have an expectation of
Right.
seeing almost all your
And they're going
team's
to play your
games.
regional teams usually in your deal.
Right. Baseball's a little bit
For
different,
free.
I think it's really sad to me, because now that my Cubs are so good and they've been, this is our great era. WGAN, or no, not
WGN. Chicago
WGN
State, yeah.
used to play, and that used to be,
Of course they did. It's a Chicago station.
regular, a cable channel for everybody.
Yeah.
And they played all the Cubs games, and they just stopped like 2 or 3 years ago, and so you got to get online to watch any of the Cubs games or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, if you get DirecTV or some of these satellites, you can get that, but it's a premium if you want to watch your team. You have to, I got the Sunday
yeah.
NFL ticket one time, and I said, well, I just don't watch enough to be, for this
Yeah.
$100 deal.
I'm conflicted by it, though, in some ways, though, Kev. I'll make it quick. But reason is because, I'm a big sports fan, and I want sports to continue to flourish in the leagues and everything. And they're making plenty of money. There's no
You
problem
think?
with that. But the only thing I see is that it scares me looking at what's happened with music and how people can just steal music left and right. And I don't
Yeah.
want it to be. I don't want the product to become so diluted that they're not even able to field, or pay players or anything like that, because people
Yeah.
just steal all the games and don't. That's kind of only my only confliction.
Maybe
about
so.
it,
Well, we're fair and balanced, aren't we?
yeah.
You remind me of a topic I was talking about last night. By the way, you were so right. I went and saw War for the Planet of the Apes last
Yeah.
night. You were so right about where was the war?
Yeah.
What in the world?
The first
I
battle
went to
so
see a battle.
cool,
That
you
was
know?
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
run up the hill. The
And
rest
it was
of
a great, and I thought it was it had an interesting emotional tone
good
to
movie.
it.
Yeah, good
but
movie.
it just-
there was a tear time
especially
for me.
for the two first movies and how they set it up.
Yeah.
It just wasn't a war. It just,
Here's what I thought. Well,
Yeah.
two things. First of all, I did have a tear when the big gorilla died with the flower.
yeah,
The
that
girl.
part, and then at the end a little bit, but that was.
Yeah, Caesar.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, we
Yeah.
can't give spoilers.
No spoilers, yeah.
But here's what I thought it was like. Battle scene, going up the hill, charging. Oh, that was great.
Yeah.
The rest, we ran out of money. Because they're like, there was no real battle at the end of the battle.
Maybe, or maybe
they didn't charge. You saw
I
an
think
army,
that they-
and then they're.
I think
I
that
can't
they
tell
did
them,
it.
but I mean, just
I think that they couldn't. They couldn't
killed by an
figure out a
avalanche.
way.
Really?
I think they couldn't figure out a way to make it realistic where the apes fought an actual technological battle with.
Well, there wasn't enough of them yet.
Right.
See, that hadn't merged, so they couldn't story-wise. So I
Right.
thought about that.
Yeah.
But the battle between the humans and thing, where was the battle?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then the one guy, the general, didn't even lead him into.
I know.
We're giving too many
I
spoilers.
like the moment
but
though. It's not really a spoil. This part when he was like Custer and Sitting Bull, Churchill and
Yeah.
Hitler. You know, he was like, you probably don't realize this, but this is a big moment. You know, when Caesar
Yeah.
met the
True.
colonel. You know,
And
it's
yeah,
pretty
Woody
cool.
Harrelson, what a good actor.
Yeah,
actually.
he is,
He,
he
did
is.
really good. He seemed
So
really
I liked the
sinister.
movie. The more I think about it, I liked the movie. It was just different than what my expectations were.
This weekend coming out, and
Uh-huh.
we'll give a review next week.
Okay.
Dunkirk.
Ah.
I cannot, because you don't like it, but
Yeah.
it's history and it's World War II and it's a side of, you know, I know a lot about like Midway. I've seen Pearl Harbor, Midway. Not the Pearl Harbor movie, that was okay, but Tora 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 was the real.
Uh-huh.
I was going to say biblically, historically more.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. And so Tora 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 is good to watch if you haven't seen that.
Never seen that one,
Yeah,
no.
yeah, yeah. That was the original about Pearl Harbor. Doesn't have all the special effects that the
Right.
Ben Affleck movie had, but you know. And what was the other guy that's a no-name now? He was with him. It's a co-star.
can't
Remember,
remember.
he was the hunk of the year, whatever.
Was it like
Josh, Jason,
Josh Hartnett? Is who it
No,
was.
what?
I think it was. yeah.
Hard, yeah.
Hartnett. Yeah, he
Yeah,
was in a
that's
few
it.
movies.
Yeah,
yeah.
You know, and I've seen, you know, a lot of documentaries because I love history of all kinds. I've read all the books. You know, the Patton, the Killing Patton one by Bill O'Reilly was awesome. But nothing about Dunkirk that I know. I know.
don't know what is Dunkirk.
I know. Well, these guys are trapped in this. I don't know. I don't know the whole story. I just know that America and Britain and whatever we came to each other's rescue in some heroic, wonderful
Interesting.
way.
Had some
Lost a lot
prisoners of
people.
war or something,
Yeah,
and-
so it's going to be. Well, there's no prisoners of war. It was just a battle. This was the
Interesting.
Battle of Dunkirk. Was a deciding battle in World War II, and so. Anyway, so
Guess what I found out?
yeah,
Kevin?
Wonder Woman. People are
Yeah, Wonder Woman was
Transformers.
awesome.
Just another
I don't wanna
another
go see this one.
franchise. Waste of time.
What I thought was very cool was oh gosh.
What, Dunkirk?
no.
Apes. We're back on the apes.
Oh gosh. Anyway.
Bunch of
I
battles.
forgot.
A lot of whole battling going on. Let me, while you're thinking about it, I
Yeah.
can throw up our hero of the day. I'd like to throw out a hero. This is a one person, so it's not heroes, but it also entails people that are like this guy. I like this idea. You know, one of the things I love the most about Christianity is that it should cover all of life, you know, because all truth is God's truth. The biblical worldview is the way the world should be. You know, the enemy has corrupted it, but I believe that the kingdom of God is expanding, and I love people. You know, my favorite thing, what's the opposite of a pet peeve? Would be my,
Your guilty pleasure.
there's nothing guilty about it. No. Guilty.
I don't know. That's just the other term they use.
Well, no, that would be when I have dessert. Like the other day,
Yes.
I had a little bit of ice cream. I don't have ice cream anymore like I used to.
Really?
Every day, either a bowl of ice cream or a bowl of cereal before I went to bed. Like, what in my mind made me not think that I would be fat, you know, by doing that every day? But anyway, that habit's over with. My hero of the day. We got a special music just for our hero of the day. Roll it.
These are the heroes, just ordinary people, laying down their lives like angels in disguise. The weak but always will.
But I love
Hey,
people.
real quick, I thought of what it was.
Yes?
This has to do with one of my heroes, Kevin. In 1950, Charlton Heston starred in 2 movies as Andrew Jackson. I gotta
Did.
see those.
I've seen one.
Yeah.
You did two?
Yeah, there was like one about the Battle of New Orleans, and then there
Yes,
was one where he was
I have
like
seen it,
he
yes.
was just like a supporting cast in it or something like that.
Yes. Well, no, the whole life of Andrew Jackson was one of them. But there was a battle one too. So there was another one where he was just a supporting.
Yeah, and then also there was another movie.
But he played
where-
him a lot. He must have liked Andrew Jackson.
Must have. Oh, also the Disney Davy Crockett show had, and a couple of those movies they made. There was also Andrew Jackson in that because he hasn't been portrayed in that many films. It's surprising because he would be a great character. A movie about Jackson would be
character.
awesome.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
They should do a newer one.
I know,
Yeah,
that'd be
definitely.
cool.
They've done many on Lincoln, but Jackson
I would have
should
liked
be
to
one.
have seen Clint Eastwood, but he's maybe a little too old now. But a Clint Eastwood as Jackson.
He can be
would
the
look
older
pretty cool.
Jackson.
Yeah.
Find a younger Jackson.
Yeah.
Josh Hartnett.
Josh Hartnett. 1991 or something.
But I love people who can take the Carrie Ann is really talking a lot today. I know. She but which is fine, but she's talking about
She asked if you've
editions
seen the
with
new
cereal.
Spider-Man. You've seen the Spider-Man. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, Spider-Man, good. Thumbs up on that. But no, she's talking about, I was talking about ice cream and cereal, but she's saying what her favorite cereals are. See, if you're going to eat these, you're going to say, why am I fat? No, you are fat. No, I'm not saying she's fat. I'm just saying
Right.
that, if you're going to eat Cocoa Krispies and Frosted Flakes, I love Frosted Flakes. But my guilty pleasure,
Yes.
peanut butter Captain Crunch. I like it. People say it, because it leaves the thing on the, but it doesn't matter. It's worth it. I'd break teeth and break the coating off the roof of my mouth, but I still love.
I got
peanut
two
butter.
favorites:
Yeah.
Apple Jacks and Fruit Loops. Those are my two.
Those are guilty pleasures. Don't eat them every day, please. 'cause
I
you
don't eat cereal.
Oh yeah, okay.
I eat apple pie,
because we did away with
cookies,
milk, and so once in a while we'll have coconut milk, but the whole thing together is too fattening. Anyway, moving on. Hero. I love people who will take things, and just we talked about the dentist who takes his dentistry overseas as a missionary, as this Mr. Dr. Paez. Amazing. I love that. People that go outside of the pulpit, or go outside of the church too, and really to win people. He is now purporting, this man is named Chris Patton. He's in LaGrange, Georgia. Chris Patton owns the Patton Auto Family business there. It's a large business in Georgia, throughout that town, in the state. He's got a lot of employees. And he's setting up a template for other managers and other corporations to use to just make the Christian worldview as part of that business without being, yeah, they have a chapel, whatever, they have those kind of things, but also just business strategies that are godly and not, especially auto business. There's some cutthroat, auto deals. The car salesman has that whole persona,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have to be. He's trying to change that one employee at a time.
That's cool, man.
And managers, owners, if you're listening, anybody that runs any kind of businesses, there should be that, that Christian atmosphere in that place. And they find that anytime they do, man, businesses soar.
That's
and
pretty
so
cool.
as they honor the Lord. And so shout out to my hero of the day, Chris Patton, who doesn't know me and I don't really know him, but I was reading about him and I thought this is a great hero of the day. Well, we got another hero, number 40.
39.
Oh, we're still 39. I want to get to 40 so bad.
I know.
But number 39, yesterday 38 was Gerald Ford. Number 39, after Ford could not recapture. It was that cycle. There's no way he could have, after what Nixon left him.
Yeah.
And he did good with what he had. I mean, it was a good president. I wish he would have had one more shot. But
And maybe a shot
the
to
younger
even do some actual domestic policy things, as opposed to just dealing with, Watergate or kind of calming the nerves of the country or something. It would have been nice to kind of see maybe him do some policies and see kind of where his, a little bit more, because he didn't get that much time to.
Yeah, and
know.
kind of faded out after he retired
Yeah.
too. He didn't really into too much. I know he supported his wife Betty Ford and that whole the Betty Ford Clinic and stuff. But comes a young buck,
That's
governor.
Yeah.
Governors to me always seem to make great presidents.
Yeah, I like governors.
Generals and governors.
Yep.
Begins with a G,
they're,
you're in.
Because they're
for me.
executives.
Begins with a G,
you know?
you're in for me.
That's right.
Who's
and if
gonna
you're
run
in
next time?
If you're in the Senate or something, you're a legislator. If you're a governor or general, you're an executive. You've been
Yeah.
in charge. You were the boss man. So
President Trump began with a G.
yeah.
He was a general manager.
He
He was a general. But man, from Plains, Georgia, peanut farmer, the whole
So-
thing, Sunday school teacher,
The 39th president we have
James
Earl Carter.
Earl Carter.
And I don't know. I mean, if I was him, I might have gone by James Earl Carter. That sounds like a pretty cool
I
name.
know,
don't
but he just call me Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Just Jimmy.
So Georgia, Democrat,
Yes.
1977 and 1981, and Vice President Walter Mondale.
yes, Walter Mondale.
So very cool, because remember how we had
Who
the
lost
string of a lot of
hugely to Reagan, but yeah,
hugely Geraldine
got one
Ferraro.
state his.
Yes.
Minnesota.
So he went to Annapolis Naval Academy, which my grandpa went
Is
to.
he our first Georgia guy, by the way? President?
Yes. And
Cool.
also another one of these Navy guys. Remember in the we've had about 6 Navy guys here in a row. Also went
Anchors
to
away.
That's right. And also went to Georgia Tech. So, and my grandpa went to
Oh.
Georgia Tech. So they
Come
literally
on
went to
now.
the 2 schools that my grandpa went to.
Come
Yeah,
on.
so that's kind of cool. Promised never to tell a lie to the American people, Kevin.
That's right.
And he was selling himself kind of as an outsider, kind of like what we had last time, you know. And he ran his campaign out of an old train depot in Plains, Georgia, where he was from, you know.
Cool.
So when he was elected, and he revived Thomas Jefferson's tradition of walking from the inauguration to the White House. You know, the parade route. He walked it, and that hadn't been done since Jefferson. Thought that was really cool. And presidents kind of do.
What
Some
did
of
he
them
do again that was-
He walked all the way from the podium to the White House, the 3 miles or however long it was.
Oh, he did.
Because some
That's right.
presidents, you know, like some of them get out of their limo and walk for a little bit, but then they get back
Get back
in. But
in.
he walked, I think, the whole way.
Went the
yeah.
whole way. Now, during his campaign,
Uh-huh.
because you weren't alive now,
Right.
but I was.
Yes, tell me.
He got a lot of criticism, and the Christians were starting to bail on him because we thought he's a Christian man. But he said he would never
Well, he
tell
was,
a lie.
But yeah.
Huh?
Well, he was. Not-
No,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
I believe he's.
Yeah.
I'll see him in heaven.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. But even though he's become a little crotchety, but anyway, that's okay.
Crotchety
Grandpas
makes
can
not
be.
for
Yeah, nothing
Yeah.
to do with your soul. But the Christians started bailing on him a little bit.
Uh-huh.
He went and had an interview with Playboy magazine. First of all, that was like, and then
Weird.
And then it was he had admitted. He said, "No, I'll admit, even as a Christian man, I sometimes fight with lust," which is
Right,
honest.
right.
Actually, to me, it endeared him more that he's not a perfect man. He
Yeah.
was just telling people that especially Playboy magazine. I don't know why he had an interview with them,
Yeah.
but it endeared him with some people that we don't
Interesting.
want to be endeared to. But it also, to me, it was where it was the dividing line where Christians were going to vote for him or not at this point, and they made their determination on whether they thought, well, that's honest and that's cool, or you shouldn't tell people you have, because we're still in an age of innocence where compared to it is now.
Yeah.
People just didn't say stuff like that publicly,
Right.
and so it was just the thing that changed a lot. But
I remember Joe Namath and Roger Staubach. And, you know, Joe Namath was the Playboy, and Roger Staubach they were like, well, why don't you
Straight-laced.
talk about that? He goes, well, I enjoy it just as much as he do. I just do it with my wife, you know.
yeah, there you go.
So that's interesting. I never heard that, though. That's very interesting.
It was an interesting time.
Yeah, because he definitely it was of character. He was a Bible teacher since he was 18 years old.
Still doing it.
Still doing it, and he was a nuclear engineer. I didn't know this. Very interesting. At Annapolis Naval Academy. Tenacious, virtuous, smart. Kind of a micromanager, though. That was his style. Raised Southern Baptist, deeply religious man. In fact, his Secret Service code name was Deacon. So kind
Come
of
on
interesting.
now.
And approached the presidency with a devout work ethic and pored
Yeah.
tirelessly over briefing books, memos. That was his style. He found the Oval Office was a crucible where high ideals would wither under the heat of political realities. So he kind of found this kind of roadblock. He mostly refused to play the political games.
Yeah.
And this kind of handicapped his domestic initiatives. He just refused. He wouldn't go along with the kind
Yeah.
of the Washington way, which is admirable in some ways, but that's not necessarily what we
You're
ask for
playing
in
the
a
politics
president.
game, yeah, you got to play the game.
Right. So he did add cabinet spots for the energy department and education. So kind of interesting because the energy department is over on nukes, and he obviously was a nuclear physicist or engineer. So it was on the world stage where he made his mark, though, and will go down in history as a president who made human rights central to his foreign policy. In the past, we'd been entwined with foreign dictators to a certain degree, and we still kind of are. But he tried to make it, based on morality and based on helping people.
I know, but he
You know.
burned him on one point with the Olympics. He
With the
was
Olympics
against
and
Russia,
also with
took
Black
us
Hawk
out.
Down, I think was in his presidency, or
I don't think Black Hawk Down was,
there was
but
something
there was
where
a helicopter,
Yeah, a helicopter went down,
which is against what you believe.
which is what.
Don't tell the people the secret missions you're going to do.
That's not what
So-
I was saying necessarily, Kevin.
Well, anyway, I don't want to go there,
Okay,
but
but
we didn't know until after it
You
was
can have
a
a
failed
secret
mission.
You can have a secret war. That's what I was saying.
Well, sometimes they go
Oh
hand in hand. I don't
gosh, you want to live in Russia so bad.
know.
Uh,
I've been there. It is a nice place. I've considered.
This carried a certain naivete about the world, right?
Yeah.
And meaning that we can't always do it with just this, always go after the 100% good guys or all this stuff. But in 1978, he did something really cool, which was the Camp David Accords,
Yes,
which was
that was
between
great.
Egyptian President Anwar Sadat and Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin. Menachem Begin.
Menachem.
Yes. And so he simultaneously addressed the problems of the Palestinians, which was something that it's like, how are we going to ever solve that? To a certain degree, we still have a lot of issues we have to work out. But at first, they argued over
broke your eyes.
everything.
Yeah.
Ancient, grievances that nobody even thinks
Yeah.
about today. And it took 13 days. He would not let them leave. At some point, they were like, "I'm getting out of here." He's like,
Yeah.
"No, you're
No,
going to
you're
stay
not.
here." And he was able to basically come with a peace agreement between
Yeah.
Israel and Egypt, which is amazing because
was
in all the
amazing.
turmoil now over there, you don't hear much about. You hear about Egypt, but you don't hear that much about Israel and Egypt. It's Palestine and Egypt.
Right.
It's Iran and it's Palestine and Israel. It's Iran and Israel, but not
Yeah.
So that's
No, I
very
know.
lasting and it's very interesting.
And people use that as a template for Camp David Accords and peace ever since then.
Right.
And even since he's been president, they used to send Jimmy Carter to settle a lot of disputes. I know it was in Haiti they sent him,
Wow.
another Middle Eastern country.
Yeah.
So he did pave a way. Here's what's sad to me
Yes, tell me.
about Jimmy Carter. Put in a different time, and we've talked about this before, in a different time, he would have glowed as one of the greatest presidents, I believe. But first he had to, rebuild America. Then the energy crisis comes. And we have to, he lowers the speed limits. Everybody had to go 55. Nobody could go over 55 all over the United
I
States.
can't drive 55.
Thank you, Sammy Hagar. And then the odd and even license plates. You could only get gas then. There was a gas shortage.
Oh, man.
And then the hostage are taken in Iran.
Yeah.
And he's got to fight the Ayatollah, this whole thing, and none of this. And all of a sudden, I just see it beating him down. You could just see it. My grandmother, who is not a Democrat, my grandmother taught me not to be one or the other, just to obey the president, follow and pray for the president. She would cry on a daily basis. She cried for Nixon when he was going through it's so unfair. And then, and for Ford, he was shot. No, he wasn't, Grandma. He was shot at, but he didn't get shot. But he fell down. Anyway, and so, and then Jimmy, she would cry on a day. Oh, Jimmy, poor, She
Yeah.
was very equal. She Republican, Democrat. But you could see him literally age over these things.
Oh, yeah.
Then this helicopter thing we talked about was a failed mission.
Yeah.
It was not his fault, but he was there. And then the energy crisis, then
Because
then the Iran
he's known
hostage.
for as a president too who didn't fire one single shot. He
Yeah.
was the peace president, but he tried to in that initiative that failed. So it's kind of but that's real. To wrap up Jimmy Carter, let's just get into a few of the things that
Yep,
kind of
we
like
better
plagued
wrap up.
him
I'm running out of
that
time.
we were saying. There was a stagnant economy hit. Energy inflation crisis, and he did nothing to exude consumer confidence. He didn't know that side of the presidency. So yes, you were talking about the long lines for the gas shortages. So then the most difficult chapter of his presidency, October 1979, Islamic militants stormed the American embassy in Iran, keeping 52 Americans as hostages. And so essentially this is what happened, and he spent his last days to, really doing everything he could to get them out. And actually the election of Ronald Reagan was held on the 1-year anniversary of the taking of the hostages. And he became so obsessed with this, they were in captivity for 444 days. And on the very last day on the day that Reagan was to be put in office, they were waiting on the tarmac, and as soon as he was sworn in, the hostages were
set
released.
free.
And,
So Reagan got all the credit, and he basked in the glory. He never
Yeah.
gave credit to Jimmy
Yeah.
Carter, of course, but
but that's Jimmy Carter. In 2012, he passed Hoover as the longest retired president, and still kicking to this day. He had brain cancer, but I think he's out of it.
I think he's past
Yeah.
it. But you know what is even more amazing? He's done more after. I don't know about more, but it's more significant. Founded Habitat for Humanity.
Absolutely.
Building houses for those that need that. He's been a negotiator of peace and a diplomat for our nation, very well. So and an outspoken, critic at times, but he very much still plays a great role as a patriot.
And my
in
favorite
our
joke,
nation.
the Andy Kaufman, that remember him? He's a taxi in that movie they made. Jim Carrey said, "Would you like to hear my impression of Jimmy Carter? Hello, I am Jimmy Carter."
Yeah. And then the poor Jimmy, also, President Carter
Yes.
had a brother that would not stay out of the news. anyway, you got the blues. You're not feeling good. I thought of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I could put a whole lot more. I just started putting down things. You got the blues and want to get out of the blues. You want to get out of where you at. And blues are not necessarily depression. Depression is heavy. I believe it's a spirit. I believe that it can be taken care of. One of the remedies in the Bible says, put on the garment of praise and the spirit of heaviness or depression will fall from you. So be a praiser. So that's definitely part of this. But I'm just talking about, you get the Monday blues. I got to go to work. I don't feel like it. It's Wednesday. It's Thursday, or it's the last day, Friday. I'm going to skip work today. I got the blues. Things are not going at work. I don't know what I'm going to do. They build walls and you don't know they're going to do it. I mean, these things happen. You don't understand what's going to, and you just get the blues. Well, first of all, pray and praise. That's my number one. If you want to get out, when I start my day with prayer, no matter what happens to me, I know I'm connected to the one that can get me out. When I can't do things on my own, I know the one that can get me out. And if I'm praising him, of course, you usher in his presence with praise, but pray and praise. Remember, number 2, that everything you're going through, most of what you're going through is not carnal, but it is spiritual. It's an attack from the enemy. The weapons of our warfare may not be carnal, but they are mighty through God for the pulling down of every stronghold. So remember to pray and praise, and remember you're in a spiritual battle every day. Then thirdly, look past the immediate problem and look to the eternal. Is this really a big battle that I need to fight, or is there a bigger one coming I need to just gear up for? So look past, what is the eternal, the big picture? Look for the forest, for the trees. Fourthly, pray for those that come against you that might be negative to you, and it's the hardest thing to do. When things do come at you, and they will, whether it's the enemy, maybe somebody's being used of the enemy, look past them and look and target the enemy. Because when it comes to the person, Jesus says, attack the enemy, take care of the devil. But when it comes to a person, Matthew 5:42 says, whoever compels you to go 1 mile, go with him 2. Verse 42, give to him who asks, and from him who wants to borrow, don't turn away. You've heard it said, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say, love your enemies and bless those who curse you. Do good to those who hate you, and pray for those who spitefully use you and persecute you. It's one of the hardest things Jesus ever said. But I think it's because we need to look past the person, because it's not necessarily that person that's attacking you, but there's the enemy trying to destroy you and tear you down. And so pray, praise. Remember, these things are spiritual mostly, not carnal. Look past the immediate to the eternal. Pray for those around you that may be negative to you. Fifthly, keep healthy. Keep healthy. Stay away from the Lucky Charms and the Apple Jacks, right? But never surrender on health, so that when something does come your way that seems too big to handle, you're healthy enough physically that you can pray and you can persevere and you can break down those strongholds. And sixthly, I don't know what it is. Expect changes. Expectancy. Our pastor preached great message last Sunday. The spirit of expectancy. Expect great things. Expect a miracle. Oral Roberts used to say it all the time. Expect a miracle and it shall happen. And then lastly, celebrate life. Look to the things you can celebrate, not just the things that are negative. And all of those could be sermons in itself. I might put together a sermon, how to beat the blues. But anyway, I want to pray. Lord, we thank you that you give us the power to overcome. You've given us everything we need for life, you said. And so we pray for health and strength and the prosperity that comes from you. We just pray all these things that we'll get past the blues and be a witness for you in our kingdom, like many heroes that we have talked about before have become. Help us to be that. So we discern good from evil and do what you've called us to do. Carrie Ann, who's been on there, has been having lower back pain. We pray healing in her body and those that need healing in their body and strength. We pray for John McCain today, that the family comfort, but also that you bring healing to his life. Maybe as a great testimony of your healing power. Do that, God. We give you praise. And thank you for this program. Thank you for the program coming up and all of our family and friends. May your blessing be upon them today. As we go with our wonderful theme song, play it out. Help us today in any way that you can. Pray for us. We'll be praying for you. Join us at 11 a.m. live. Pastor James McIntosh and Harmony, the great trio, will be here to sing. We'll see you at 11. Ba-da-da-da.